guys, Ash and Spence here with the Dust Buggy channel. Usually we're working on the Dust Buggy, which is my Baja Bug, but today I thought we'd do something different. So Spencer got a free project from his boss, a Z50 clone, and we thought we'd turn it into something else. Make sure you stay tuned to the end of the build video to see a full walk around and to see me rip around on it. Alright guys, so Spencer's boss offered him a free project, and of course he doesn't know the word no.
Yes, I do not know that word.
So we ended up with a pocket rocket of all things.
It's like a little mini Harley thing, and I'm gonna make it something else.
Mini Harley.
It was so lame.
Look at the amount of unnecessary wiring on this thing, you guys.
It's got like a
oh
new...
my god, there's another loom you're hiding.
Well, this is the original loom, I guess, and then somebody put this new loom on it.
It almost has as much wiring as the Bug did when we first got her. So remember that big red or small red bike that we had? The damage so far. Oh my god, that's how much grease you
Try and pack it in.
Ooh. Coming together.
Grab the impact.
Oh, nice.
This arm took 3 tries.
I'll vouch for that. Would y'all look at this? I went to bed and Spencer did this. Move so they can see your magicianry.
Magicianry, I like it.
Look at that. He built a whole ass frame, you guys. Like, the man, the myth, the legend.
And the swing arm. Don't forget the swing arm.
And there's, wait, there's more. It's like an infomercial. Whoa, wait, let me see those brackets you welded together.
Don't look at that one. That one's awful. This one's better. I had to do some filling on the other side, kind of.
I really like that. That's cool.
And then like this, I couldn't get all the powder coat off earlier, so like I just said fuck it, and I made it really ugly. Oh man, I regret it. Regrets.
Regrets were made.
But yeah, the bead here is not great, but not bad. This one's okay. That one's like
shittiest.
That one's pretty nice though. That's a handsome one right there.
There you go. And you can't even see the crappy one from here.
Yeah.
So just model that one.
Actually, so this is like the only one that you'll see right away that like looks like shit. Like when it's on the bike. But maybe I'll
holds,
just grind it out
right?
or something. Yeah, I might just Dremel it out and make it look better. I'm a grinder, not a welder, guys.
I mean, if you get good enough at one, it looks like you're better at the other. Damn. So that's what Spence was doing. This one's nice. Cool. Alright, up close, without the engine in it. Let's see. So, this is Spencer's first attempt at really making his own frame for something and building something from really the ground up.
I'm not a pipe welder, guys. Pipe welding is hard. In there, solid.
Ooh. Mounted. Look at that.
And
Nice.
I spaced it off the bottom of the frame. Right here. Yeah, I spaced it right here so that it doesn't vibrate and touch all the time.
And make some rattling noises.
Yeah.
It's the idea anyways.
I'm hoping this will be a really low riding bike.
Like
So.
like barely off the ground?
Yeah, like right there.
Ah!
I mean...
That low.
I mean, with the thickness of this mat, you know,
okay.
off the ground. Well, let's see with the front wheel on the floor. Let's see.
How low can you go?
So the frame is just off the ground up here, and that's kind of like
That's
the
how
idea.
you want it.
That's why I put it on this mat, so that the mat would just give it a little spacing off of this. I put this on the solid ground.
Gotcha.
But by the time I hook up the suspension and stuff, hopefully it ends up like right around here somewhere. And
Like
it gets
an
a little
inch.
bit higher where the swing arm is, so it allows for some travel.
So you're not bottoming out all over the place?
Yeah, it'll be a soft tail, and that's probably about the height we're looking for there. Let's see right there.
So you get a little bit more.
I'm pretty much bottoming out those front shocks,
Nice.
so that's lucky. So I'm thinking when I attach this rear swing arm, obviously that the point of a rear swing arm is to make it a soft tail and put a little shock in there. I can only really fit so much shock. I'll show you. I'm gonna have to make a bar, so this will sit about right there ish, and I'll have to make 2 linkages right here to let the swing arm pivot on that joint, and then I will have to make a bar that comes down here, down and that way, so I can put a shock mount and mount a shock right in here, and wherever the shock sits, the seat will sit right above it. And then it's time to figure out a fuel tank. Up here somewhere.
Up top.
Like a traditional chopper.
Got an extra support on that rear trailing arm. Nice. He tricked me. I thought the chain was on. Almost though. Spencer's making a shock mount. So we got a chain on there now, huh? Coming along, huh? Let me show you guys real quick what Spencer is working on. So, he's making a shock mount right now. I guess this is how he wants it jigged up, he thinks. We never are too sure until, you know, it gets done. You guys saw a picture of that. He's getting ready to weld it, I guess. As soon as he probably gets the shock in and can see how everything fits together. So, I didn't notice this, but Spence pointed it out. He had to cut this off and re-weld it offset.
This whole arm. No, still hot. Had to re-weld this whole, rebend and re-weld a whole arm side of this arm here because it didn't come over far enough to clear the chain right here. It was rubbing, so I made it wider now and welded a new section in. We'll see if it clears. There we go, so now the chain clears it by quite a bit on the side. It won't rub. Now what I'll do is I'll make a roller. I can slack this back off here a little bit equally and bring the whole wheel forward and make a roller that keeps it with just like an extra sprocket, or like I can purchase an idler sprocket and make a roller that pushes this up to make sure that it's not sliding on the control arm.
Dang. He's getting closer and closer. So this is Spencer's new baby shock.
Right? It is a baby. Oh yeah.
There we go. On the ground. You gotta bounce harder. Ah! Right?
I can get it to bottom out though.
Ah! Slams frame he just built on the ground.
It's a frame.
Spencer put on a fender. There's the mount for it. I'm trying to hold a beer in my hand at the same time, so it gets a little difficult. Now
Also putting in a support for the footrest.
and that's where the foot pegs are gonna go, right?
Yeah, whatever we choose.
Woo!
Pegs and perches.
It's coming
And
together.
We have
Why
to
don't-
figure out, put levers too, like brake and gear shift, and we're gonna decide if we want to do a suicide shift or a pedal shift. But keep in mind this motor has a clutch on it, so if we do a suicide shift, it has to have a 2-finger clutch lever.
Show off what you got this morning.
What did I get this morning? Oh,
What did I get this morning? Only the thing that we left the house for.
yeah, a fuel tank.
Woo! Not that little baby dinky one we had on before. Nice, nice.
Is that the right size?
I think so for a stretched mini chopper.
Yeah.
Very nice. Click the like button right now if you guys think this is cool. This is the first time Spencer's attempted to do something like this from the ground up.
Yeah. That
Very
is
cool.
true.
So he did have some trouble with the rear swing arm here after actually getting it all tacked together last night. It was actually tweaked, curved. So he spent all night getting it straightened out, and as you can see, it's pretty much there now. Whee! Are you happy?
Yeah, it's coming together.
Pretty fast too. You've
Yeah.
only been working on this for like a week and a half?
Probably not even that.
Like a week, huh?
Yeah. Since last weekend. Yeah, a week.
Pretty much, exactly, huh? Cool. Here's the progress.
New tank. Harley screw style cap. These are the mounts I came up with. I sunk a screw with a skirt on it.
Wow, that actually looks pretty that wild.
And then that one, yeah, I added a spacer and a rounded top so it could sit in the rounded feature right here of this tunnel.
Very cool. Wow. Nice. Let me get the front. Very cool. Fits right on there. Like a glove. Jeez. Damn crows. Alright. So, Spencer is dealing with that. He got the levers
The hand
on there.
controls on there.
Yeah.
Just mounted so I can do the electrical. Came with 2 harnesses. Both of them were all cut up. And so I'm trying to sort between two cut-up harnesses, and I've kind of just played with the meter and figured out which buttons go to which wires for both hand switches and the ignition switch. So it's a little bit more than just wiring up a pit bike, because it definitely has a lot more. It has, your blinkers, your tail lights, your headlights, your high and low for your headlights, and kill switch up there. It's got brake light switches. It's got
whole bunch
of stuff. So
it's gonna be a long fight.
it's gonna be, this is kind of gonna be the long part of the build. That's kind of backwards from what you would think. You would think that building the frame would be the long part of the build.
That came together real fast, though.
Yeah, it came together within a week. It's the wiring that I'm not so hot on, so we'll get there, though.
Ooh, ooh, start. Let's see if this plug will work. Pop, 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 pop. Woo! It's running. She got power. Nah! For 2 seconds. Hey. Dead. You gotta be happy about that, huh?
Yeah, buddy, we got a runner.
Hee.
So what I'm gonna do today or tonight is start to look at me. Is start to make an exhaust for this little mini chopper.
That's better.
For the exhaust, I took 1.25 inch tubing, then I sleeved 1 inch tubing into it and kind of poured out the inside to make it match the larger ID. So now I've stepped it down so I can take a piece of 3/4 and start my exhaust pipe. 3/4 will slip in there just like that, and I'll kind of do another little port match job right here. Weld it on the welded on the outside wherever I want it to sit, and start my exhaust.
This thing sounds pipey now.
So I got my 1/2 inch ID idler sprocket. It's about 3/4 of an inch from side to side. And there it goes. The thread, it looks like it's seated in nicely. The center of the bearing, the center race is standing still while the sprocket's moving, so that means I got good fitment.
Yay!
In for now, but this is our kind of like tensioner roller sprocket. It'll keep the chain from rubbing on our swing arm first off, and second off, when the control arm comes up, or when the swing arm comes up, this will come up as well, taking up that slack that would be caused on this side of the chain.
Alright, you guys, let's check out Spencer's wiring situation he's got going on.
I kind of tucked it. I made a loom out of it and tucked it up under the tank and through the frame. It's all coming through the engine mount area and coming out the bottom to my battery. And my engine wiring is also in there. The engine wiring comes out of here and connects to the loom down right about here. And then I have the CDI right here. I have to weld a little flat plate to the chassis, and then I'll be double sticking the CDI to that flat plate. And I'll probably add a zip tie or two just for a little bit of insurance there. But and then the next thing, I have the battery kind of the bracket tacked down. So the battery's kind of in its final resting place right there. I will have to make some kind of U-channel or some kind of slider to make sure that the chain doesn't move side to side, because I don't want it touching my battery for any reason. So I'll just make like a slider, a chain slider.
I don't know if I showed this before, but Spence made this seat pan. Dope. This right here
is going to mount
is
on
going
the same
right
tab
there.
right there. I need to take out the rubber shim I haven't, like the rubber spacer. Actually, it's a oil cooler gasket from a bug.
That's your gasket.
Cheap gasket.
Yeah, I want to sit here. It's recording.
Fingers over the lens. Little unstable there because the rear is not mounted and the front's just loosely mounted. But
I love it.
I think the size is like the shape. So turn left to right, or right to left, either way. You can get full lock on either side.
Nice. The foot pegs are comfy.
They're going to be a little bit wider.
I like the gas tank being right here.
It's kind of the right size.
You kind of like hold on with your legs. You know?
So, what do you think about coming to the side for a suicide shifter? Is that capable?
Where would it be?
I'd have to mount it in here. So your foot,
Your
foot will be like out here on the peg. And the suicide shifter will be right mounted off the frame here. Be a long stick with like a ball at the end. And it just goes forwards and backwards. What do you think? Suicide shift?
Yeah. Show it off.
Got some penetration there.
Nice. So Spence made this bracket.
To hold the
Alrighty. So there's the bracket.
mounted.
Huh?
Pretty soft so far.
Nice.
Something like that. So, yeah, the perfect length because it gives you full travel left and right, and you're not really like stretching for it. So, I'm pretty happy with it.
Alright. Let's see what you got going on. Looks like you're making a rear brake, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that. So you took some piping, or some, what is that, piping? What is it called? You took metal stick, and you bent it, and then you tapped it, huh?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Started the ends.
That's awesome. He's moving! Oh my god, that is fun. No neutral. Ah! That thing is pretty fun, you guys. I did not expect it to be that fun. So that's gonna be your suicide shift.
Yeah, buddy.
Nice.
So something like that, right in there.
What you gonna put on the end?
Oh, you'll see.
Wow.
I wonder if I can just bend it over.
That is cool.
Woo! This is our linkage for our new suicide shifter. That's first gear. Neutral. Second gear.
Neutral.
Third gear.
Oh.
Fourth gear. Yeah, that's the top. Third gear.
Hard to get it forward, huh?
Well, once you. Oop, there's second with no clutch. There's first with no clutch. I guess you could just slam it.
No.
But. Oh, I want to ride it right now. But.
No, it's 10 o'clock at night.
Alright, so here we have the mini trail chopper. My boss gave me a free chopper. I cut the front section off of it, the adjuster plates for the wheels, and the engine bracket, and the rest was put together here. It took about 3 weeks of coming home and doing this after work and plugging away at it on the weekend. I stayed pretty focused the whole time, so you know, it was a good amount of time, but it was a lot of fun. And I learned a lot, and I'm really happy with it. So one of the biggest things that, like, right off the bat catches everybody is the suicide shifter. The suicide shifter was one of the later parts of the project that came towards the end, but I think it really made the bike. So I made the shifter bracket out of the original shifter piece and just made this tab for it. Bent this little piece of dowel and threaded the ends and attached it to my home bent shift lever. And I purchased this on Etsy off a guy. It is a manual motor, even though it's only 50 cc's. So we got the clutch on there too. Next cool thing is, I think the foot pegs are cool because I had put like a mini Harley shaped foot peg set up, so it kind of mocks the Harley. Kind of like, sometimes I like to call it the Harley Davidson, but then we got the rear swing arm. That's a big one too. The rear swing arm I thought was cool because it'd be different. A lot of the mini choppers I see out there are hardtails, and that's simply because it's hard to get the geometry right and get the chain to function without it hitting things or getting, you know, wearing things down. So that was kind of a challenge. The shock mounting, obviously you have to mount it so that it gives you enough ride height, and you know, it can't have too much travel either, or else you'll bottom out. So you got to set that right, and then you got to have a tensioner for the softail. So the tensioner was simpler than I thought it would be. I just added a roller, like an idler sprocket, so that when the arm moves up, the idler will move up as well and take up the slack. It's worked out pretty well so far. Another thing we made for this bike, the kickstand. I used just like a Honda 50 kickstand. It was a Chinese one though. It was off an SSR, and I cut it off. I cut it here, and I bored the inside out more so I could put this 1.5-inch tube in there, and then I welded it at that point. And further down, I crimped it and bent it so it's like a nice chopper kickstand, and I gave it this little knob here so that you can grab it either with your foot or with your hand, and you know, pull it out and push it back in.
Hello, can you go?
So on this side, there's a few things. We have our Kickstarter, which is cool. When you're standing up and you kick it, you're literally like stomping on the ground. So I always think that's kind of cool. When you kick it, you stomp.
You stomp.
That's how low it is. Then you got the side exit exhaust pipe, which is very loud, and some people really like it. Some people probably don't like it that much, but I'm not going to worry about them. And then we have the rear brake that I made. I just took the pedal portion of the original brake setup that came with this bike and cut it off right at the beginning there, and made this tube. And I actually made it, so I made this tube short the first time, and it didn't have enough space for your foot here, so I cut it off right about here, and I extended it. So like probably a 4-inch extension there, 3 or 4-inch extension there, and made it longer so that I could fit my whole foot on there without rubbing or pressing on the brake.
Yeah, but that means my foot doesn't fit on it.
Well, you just moved a little. Anyway, so
Custom
the
built.
brake is still a work in progress. It does work pretty well. If you look back there, I mean, it does what it's supposed to. But the bike is so low that the bracket for it is currently dragging on the ground and almost worn through in the front. So we're thinking about upgrading to a cable style instead of this, I guess like dowel style, like a push rod, pull rod deal. We're gonna move to a cable style. The cable still has a dowel at the back, so it'll work with the original setup. But then you mount a holder for it, and the cable comes forward from there to your control. So that's probably one of the next steps, as well as 1 inch longer, or no, they're 2 inch longer front forks. These forks are a little short, and you know, actually it's not the fork's fault, it's my fault. You know, I didn't space the chassis up enough when I built it.
For a small fork bike.
Yes, well, I made it just like an inch too short, the chassis, off the ground. So, when I order these forks, that'll solve my issue. Luckily, somebody sells something to solve the issue that I created. And then it needs a taillight, and it needs front blinkers, it needs a brake switch, and the wiring for all those things. And once that's done, and a couple other loose ends for wiring, then she'll be finished and ready for paint or powder coat, whichever we decide to do. The final paint scheme is actually going to be similar to the shift ball guys, so it'll be a nice orange with cream accents. And maybe one day we'll get white walls on there if these tires ever wear out on us.